Hello, my MFA 608 students, and welcome to Module 7. Now, some of you may have a little minor heart attack when you see you're building a business model. I've heard from students in the past, and they're like, wait a minute, this class, I really don't want to be an editor. I don't want to be a mentor. I don't want to be a coach. Well, as you've kind of explored this class, you may think, okay, well, that's not something I really want to do as a business, or maybe you do, okay? Either way, it's a good idea just to understand these concepts covered in this module, and there is an activity, one of the activities we get to do, which will demonstrate that even if you don't plan on doing this as a business, this is something you need to be aware of because stuff will be coming to you. Okay, let's go ahead and get right to it. All right, so the learning objectives. Okay, so basically we're going to explain some strategies for marketing. And sometimes you don't have to, if you're really going to do this for a business and whatever, you need to learn how to market yourself to clients. Sometimes clients will come to you and ask for things, and we'll explore that. One of the bigger assignments you're going to have to do this whole semester is actually a career plan, and we'll talk about that in detail a little bit later, and then the resources. So that's kind of what the goal is for this module. So as we get to the module overview, okay, one of the main takeaways that I took from this was, frankly, not every writer is good at all different types of editing. I couldn't agree more. Okay, and I've learned this from a lot of you. Some people love the minutia of line editing, while others cannot stand it. Some can see the big picture incredibly well, while others have trouble holding an entire novel in your heads. You don't have to be all things to all people. Be honest with yourself, and when you consider this, don't be afraid to use that magic word, which is no. I don't do that. All right? You don't have to be all things to all people. So go ahead and read through that. All right, moving on. Okay, module at a glance. Yeah, we're going to go through this one step at a time. So we'll just go ahead and skip over that. Some readings and resources. I checked all these links, and they work fantastically well. One of the more beneficial ones is this one right here, Editorial Freelancers Association Editorial Rates. This is an excellent resource right here. Especially it might help you with when you do the career plan or when you answer some of the stuff. So this is a great resource to help you work on some of the assignments for this, just so you have kind of a general idea. All right, just saying. Okay, that's a good resource to look at. Okay, before we get started, again, I will have a lesson that I will post as an additional thing in the announcements like I do. So we've been through this enough. You kind of get how I do that. Let's get to the assignments themselves. All right, let's look at this one. 7-2, helping others. This is the fun assignment. At least I think it's the fun assignment. Okay, so let's see, was it 7-2? Yeah, helping others. So this is the situation. So sometimes, like I said, you may have people come to you. You may not have any intention of doing an editorial business or whatever, but sometimes people will come to you. So basically, in this, you have three clients, okay? And they're clients because they've come to you and they're asking you something, okay? So for this assignment, now in the past, you got to choose one of the three. Now for this one, you're going to choose, you have to do all three clients, okay? So let's look at client one. You're approached by, after a speaking engagement by Nancy, a Southern Belle. Ooh, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. I know Southern Belles, yeah. Okay, she says she's revised, she's written a revised version of Gone with the Wind, and it's 1,200 pages long. Woo! What does she want? She wants you to read it. No, she says, it doesn't need any editing. It's simply perfect the way it is. Sorry, that's my Southern Belle. Anyway, okay. All right. So you think to yourself, okay, well, how would you respond to that request? Would you do it? Would you not do it? Okay. If you did do it, how much would you charge? And if you wanted to do that, how would you market yourself to these clients? Say, well, I don't do this or whatever. Okay, so that's client one. So you're going to answer these three questions for all three clients. Well, let's look at client two. A young aspiring writer named Neil, he emails you and he says he loves your work. He quotes your favorite lines you've written. And he asks, hey, will you help me become a writer? All right, so again, how would you respond to that? If you do it, what would you charge? And how would you market yourself? Basically, how would you say, well, yes, I do this, or no, I don't do this. And okay. And then client three is Elliot. He's a retired Air Force flyer, and he was decorated in Vietnam, and he wants to write a book about his experiences, but he doesn't even know how to start. Okay. So the assignment here is basically you need to respond to each of these requests. So what I would do if I was you is I would say for client one, here's how I would respond. Here's how much I would charge if I was going to charge. And how would I market myself to each of these clients? Meaning that if you say, well, I don't do this, but this is what I do instead. Or, hey, I don't do this, but maybe these are some things that I offer, or here are some resources. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. So you have to answer these questions, these 3 questions for each of these clients. So to make it easiest for everyone, just I would say talk about client 1, answer these 3 questions. Then talk about client 2, answer those 3 questions. Then talk about client 3, answer those 3 questions. As long as you do that, you'll do great on this assignment. All right, there's that. So there is the fun one. Okay. 7-3, this is the one that's a little more involved, and this is one of the longer ones we're going to do, and I just scared a whole bunch of you right now. But don't worry, don't fret, we're going to go through it. Okay, so let's kind of go ahead and go through it. I would work on this right away. Okay, so basically, up to this point in time, you've explored your philosophies, we've done some self-revision, we've done peer feedback, we've done types of editing, we've talked about coaching and mentoring, and you've done this really kind of to help you understand how you would utilize these things for yourself, but also how you would necessarily, or maybe if you want to become a coach or a mentor for future clients. So these are all the activities we've done at this point in time. Now it's time to kind of crystallize that, as it were, and figure out, what you've done and what you've learned about yourself in these different activities. How does this impact you? How is this going to, affect your short-term and long-term goals? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get on my academic hat here, because my creative writing hat sometimes struggles with assignments like this. So here's what I would recommend you do for this assignment. You need to answer these questions: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because these match up with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See that? There are 7 points, and they match up with the rubric. Okay, so really what you're going to do is, if I were you, and I would strongly suggest you do this, is explain how a career in editing or in coaching informs your short-term or long-term career goals. Basically, what is that going to do? What are you going to do with that? How would you approach this? Well, if I were you, and when I were going to be writing this paper, the first thing I would just maybe do was write an introduction paragraph that says, basically this paper, and you can write this in first person. This paper, I'm really going to kind of look at a career plan in editing and coaching, and look at some different, things that I've learned in this class and how would I apply them. And then your next paragraph would be you start off basically with a topic sentence which kind of states what, how, it's like your short-term or long-term goals. And as we know in the academic world, it's not just enough to state something, say, in the short term, I'm going to do some editing, in the long term, I'm going to do more editing. Okay, fantastic, you answered the question, but you didn't really, explain it very well. So in the world of academia, you state something and then you back it up with evidence or examples. Again, you don't necessarily have to do any research for this. This can be basically your take on things, okay? So if you're going to say, hey, look, I'm not going to do any short term because I'm super busy, but long term, I want to do this, give me a reason why. Your next paragraph, my plan on how to budget time, how do you budget your time for creative work, and how you're going to do your editing and coaching, because you should do both. Okay, I will do a 50-50 mix. Well, what does that mean? What does that reflect? Okay, what does a 50-50 mix mean? Okay, give me an example. So for each of these prompts, you're going to answer the question and then give an example. So as long as you basically have addressed each of these questions, so basically when I go to grade this, I'm going to say, okay, did you talk about your career goals? See how that's bolded, career goals. I'm like, okay, did they answer this question? Did they back it up with evidence? Or when I say evidence, I mean an example. Did you give me a reason why? If you did, boom, evident. Okay, if you kind of just answered it but didn't really give any insight on why, then you're going to get emerging. If you didn't address it at all, then it would be not evident. Okay. Again, the goal here isn't really just to check off these boxes to get a good grade. It's really for introspection on how you would actually apply what you've learned in this class. Now, please get started on this right away. It's a longer assignment. You're going to apply this. This is going to be one of those things we're going to do a peer review on in Module 8. And then all of this kind of comes together. So in Module 9, we're going to take what we wrote in Modules 3 and Modules 5 and Module 7, and we're going to kind of all put them together into the final project for Module 9. So that's how that's going to work, okay? So that's how you do that. 2 3-page papers in MLA formatting. And also, remember, double-spaced, no cheating with extra gaps. Boo, don't do that. Okay. And then last but not least, just as a friendly reminder that you keep adding stuff to the class resources. All right. That's it for Module 7. And like I said, get started as soon as possible. There you go.